Garen Emig and Bill Haisten of the Tulsa World focused on golf this week for good reason. The Senior PGA Championship is at Southern Hills. And Bill, you have been as embedded as anybody in this city outside of anyone who works for Southern Hills at this event. And I thought I would simply open the floor to you to let you and let me and others know what you've seen and heard and what's been most interesting about your experience thus far.
Well, it's interesting to go out to the driving range, Garen, and watch these guys, some of whom are in their 70s now, like Tom Kite.
Yeah.
And they hit, and yeah, have they lost some yardage off the tee? Of course. They still hit it a mile. And they're, come here. Bill Harper, say hi to Garen Emig.
Well, looky there. They'll let anyone into Southern Hills these days.
Watch your mouth, okay?
Don't cuss. We're recording this. You can't cuss.
The devil I can't. Okay.
Well, he can. I've heard him do it. He can do it really well.
That's right.
All right. You shouldn't cuss. That's what I should have said. All right, Bill. Sorry. So, but these guys are amazing players. I watched these guys on the practice green as well the last 2 days. They're
right.
Putting machines. I mean, they're robotic. They're so efficient and so talented. So, I mean, it's big time golf. And of course, there's a little bit of an extra buzz, I think, here this week because a 50-year-old guy won a major championship on Sunday, and a guy who will be here, Garen, next year is the defending champion.
That's right.
The PGA Championship, which, what a great bonus for Southern Hills to get Phil Mickelson to come in here as the defending champion next year for that tournament. So, no, I mean, you got guys like Bernhard Langer, who is the Tiger Woods of the Champions Tour. He's won 11 senior major championships. He's won 42 senior tournaments and just a chunk of money, so, and guys like Steve Stricker and Scott McCarron. And then, and then you got like a rock star like John Daly, who I expect to have the largest gallery of the day tomorrow, along with Kerry Cosby, who is the director of golf at Southern Hills, who's playing in this event. So, I mean, there's tons of Ernie Els is here. Retief Goosen is here. 3 guys, this stat blew my mind. 3 guys who played here in the U.S. Open in 1977, they are here. Tom Kite, Jerry Payton, Jerry and Jay Haas. 44 years ago, they were here to try to win a U.S. Open, and here they are now, 44 years later, to try to win a senior major championship. So, the quality of golf is off the charts. It's a cool event. It's kind of a primer for next year,
right?
Because this is the first significant golf event, big time professional golf event here in town in 14 years, and so, within a span of 1 year, we will have a senior major championship followed by a PGA championship. The weather's a little sketchy. As we speak, it's perfect. Overcast, cool, pretty strong chance of rain tomorrow, Garen.
Yeah.
But the rest of the weekend, it's supposed to be cloudy and occasional rain. But as long as it's just light rain, they'll play right through it. So I'm fired up for it. They're limiting the attendance to 8,000. It's my sense that somehow magically, some way or another, there'll be more than 8,000 people in here. I think feels like there's every bit of 8,000 here today, just for practice rounds. Right. So, no, it's a cool event. It starts Thursday. If you want to watch the telecast, it's on Golf Channel Thursday, Friday, and then on the weekend rounds, it's kind of shared by Golf Channel and NBC.
Yeah,
so you can watch this championship, and I mean, if I have to pick a winner, I'm going to pick Bernhard Langer because it's the easy pick. He's so relentlessly steady, and he's been so great on this tour. And he this year at 63 is the leading guy on the money list.
Right.
So, I mean, and it may be somebody come out of the pack we're not even thinking about, Garen, but. I mean, how do you not pick Bernhard Langer at the beginning of any senior major championship?
You mentioned these guys' shot making skills still being so remarkable. I got a set. I've not been there nearly as much as you have, but even in my cameo at the course yesterday, just watching maybe an hour's worth, it was obvious. You know what else is obvious, and this is cool for those who maybe don't appreciate the finer points of golf and what these men are doing still at their age. But it's sort of it's a marker of time, isn't it? I mean, I saw Lee Janzen tee off yesterday. I'm like, how is Lee Janzen on the scene? I just remember watching this guy compete, in his prime. I checked the tee times just for other names, and here's one that just immediately jumped out at me: Bob May. How could it be 21 years since Bob May dueled Tiger Woods at Valhalla at the regular PGA Championship? I mean, that's crazy. I mean, you could appreciate the event not just from what I'm saying. It's not just from a technical standpoint for those who either play or follow golf religiously, but if you're any kind of a sports fan. And these names will pop up, and you'll all of a sudden you'll either feel old or an appreciation for how they're sort of marking time with you. That's really cool.
I walked I don't know, 4 holes on Monday with Vijay Singh.
Mm-hmm.
With me, I mean, so smooth, hits the ball a mile. At one point, he was the number 1 guy in the world. He was the number 1 player on the planet for a period of time. So no, I mean, you're right. This is, I think the Senior Tour or the Champions Tour is cool because it kind of the quality of play is remarkable. It's not like you remember the Big 3 basketball where they had the retired NBA guys playing 3-on-3.
Right.
It wasn't very satisfying. It just wasn't. These guys still play at a tremendously high level, and their shot making is world class. The only difference is, well, I mean, the top 15, 25 guys or whatever on the PGA Tour are amazing. I mean, they are magicians. And these guys were as well, and still are to some extent, or to a great extent. They just don't hit it quite the distance. So you mentioned shot making. Shot making will come into play here in some regards more than even it will next year, because of course next year the PGA of America is going to lengthen this course by 700 yards.
Oh my gosh!
Next year versus what these guys are playing. 700 yards distance, additional distance next year. So, but I think shot making is going to be whoever's the most clever, creative, and on the big tour, long irons don't come into play very much. They will this week. Guys will have to hit long irons and hit them really well. And so I mean, I've asked a lot of people what they expect with regard to a score prediction on the winner, and they're all between 5 under and 8 under.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's what you want. You don't want somebody shooting 19 under in a major championship. You want it to be a challenge, right? And this will definitely be a challenge.
Real quick, I want to mention also the sidebars that you find, the sort of the nuggets you dig out, and you've done really, really amazing work in doing that this week. And the story about the caddy, right? I mean, that's fantastic. I mean, local, and a lot of times what you're doing localizes the story and relates it back to our area and the metro. It doesn't just have to be a guy who flies in on the tour. It can be someone who's connected to as a caddy or as an administrator at Southern Hills, as a greenskeeper, someone in the gallery you run into and you find in a week like this. And I know you've been pleased to present those stories as well.
Well, the guy I wrote about is Dan Griffin, who
right,
caddying since 1959, and he is 72 years of age. I'm telling you, I mean, Garrett, this guy's healthy, strong. He double bags on the weekends. And that's a literal term. You carry 2 bags. You caddy for 2 players at once. He's 72. Well, he's 6'4". He's a 200-pound guy. He's a cattle rancher from Skytook. And so I asked him when I interviewed him yesterday morning, how many rounds would you estimate you have caddied at Southern Hills? And he didn't even blink. He said 2,400. And so I start calculating the mileage. And this guy has walked more than 10,000 miles at Southern Hills. You could walk to Moscow, Russia and back in 10,000 miles. That's nuts. So yeah, I was really happy to meet, I've known Dan Griffin for a couple of years, but really interested it was interesting to learn more about him.
Sure.
But Andrea Eager is writing a piece for tomorrow's Tulsa World on a guy named Otis Winters, who has been, his father was one of the founders of Southern Hills. Otis is 88 years of age, and he has been involved in the execution of every single significant tournament ever played at Southern Hills, amateur, professional. This guy was involved in helping Babe Zaharias in her group in 1946. And Babe Zaharias is a legend of a name.
That's right. Yeah.
Jim Thorpe kind of a name.
No doubt.
And so, and here he is, he's involved this week. He's been involved in every one of the 7 major professional championships here. He'll be involved next year. Andrea is going to tell that story in tomorrow's paper. Great story. I met Otis today. You know, Tiger Woods didn't win a national championship. He didn't win a national team championship at Stanford, but Otis did. So, so you're right. You can't, I wish we had more time and more ability to tell more stories, because they're everywhere. And you're right. And not just the player stories, but the behind the scenes people. It's a great event. I love it.
Yep. Well, we're all over it with Andrea pitching in, with Kelly Hines, with Frank Bonner, Barry Lewis. It's going to provide some pretty valuable coverage.
You'll be here tomorrow.
Yeah, before the end of the week. Ian Mull's out there taking photos. I'll make a cameo here and there, but this is the guy, folks. If you want to read about the PGA, Senior PGA this week, don't miss a word of what Bill Haisten writes. He's been entrenched and is sort of a go-to guy, is the go-to guy when it comes to this event. So please read his coverage, read our coverage, and enjoy while we have it the Senior PGA at Southern Hills. Bill, good work. Appreciate seeing you again.
Garen, thank you.